What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles, welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. Happy Monday, Hasbro, the Marvel Legends team, wanting to get your week off to a good start with the new Marvel Legends live stream. And I was really excited about some of these reveals. Like, oh yeah, come December, some of these figures are probably going to end up in my best of 2024 list, the top 10 best deluxe, best premium figure, whatever you want to call the designation. They look like they're going to be some real heavy hitters on that. One of my most anticipated figures got revealed, kinda, sorta. Wait to see the accessories before I make a full declaration on it, but a lot of cool things. And then there were also some things where I'm like, I'm putting my shield down because I can't really defend some of those choices made by the Marvel Legends team in terms of the design and the characters and the costume choices. It wasn't just one, it was both things. So a lot of things to talk about. Let's get into it right now. Now, as we know, Hasbro is in the midst of celebrating Marvel Comics' 85th anniversary, and we've already been shown some really strong sets. This Power Man or Luke Cage and Iron Fist, Hulkbuster Iron Man, Dan Ketch, Ghost Rider with his cycle, the Cabal set, the Taskmaster, Iron Patriot, Doctor Doom, Superior Spider-Man, Astonishing X-Men Wolverine that works with your Astonishing X-Men team, your new Avengers team. We got Warbird, who apparently is going to be coming and arriving in stores really soon. I think the original release date was July 21st, so that might get bumped up according to the thoughts of the Marvel Legends team today. The retro card Venom and Scar, Son of Hope. So there have been some really great reveals. There's one more added to the list. A little bit disappointing because I think this set, this program, initiative, whatever they want to call it, has been stellar. And I wouldn't mind if they cranked out a few more releases. So let's take a look at the final one so far, or for now. That is Odin. And we thought he was going to be coming. The pre-order for this is the 27th, 1 p.m. So next Thursday. It's a great looking figure. I mean, this is every bit what I wanted, what I hoped to see from this guy. I'm pretty sure I didn't pull up my picture, but this is the trident that he had from that Build-A-Figure All Father, where you could cobble the parts together to make an Odin as well. I think this was a really cool setup the way they did it back in the day, but it left for a really underwhelming version of Odin. This is the larger, wider, just massive, imposing god head of Asgard. Check out the horn helmet. The head sculpt is awesome. The big, wide beard. He looks imposing. Looks like he's ready to take a nap. And the detail work on the sculpt with the plating on his armor. You see the scale on that over piece, the main chest piece of the armor, the ornate belt, the rock. Stone Cold would be jealous of it. And just the detailing on that skirt piece, the gauntlets, the boots, everything looks really strong on this figure. I was just like, man, it's really impressive. He's got a soft goods cloth cape, so no worries. If you can find a throne form, you can sit him in there with no problem. No cape obstruction this time. And it's just an amazing looking figure. I did think it was funny that Marvel Legends team was like, yeah, he's like our 20th Asgardian. And I'm thinking it's probably 6 figures and a bunch of Thor variants. I started, counted up. We've got Lady Sif, Beta Ray Bill, Enchantress Loki, I guess Angela, if you want to count her. Maybe sounds like maybe 6 and a few more, but it was certainly an Ares, I guess, if you want to go there. And I think they had Ares on the shelf and Hercules. So it really wasn't like a bunch of Asgardians. It was like, where's Heimdall? Where's Balder the Brave? Where are the Warriors 3? But we finally got Odin. And this is truly a spectacular version of Odin. They just absolutely delivered big time on it. this is kind of like a Walt Simonson version that I was kind of hoping we would see. And this version is not a direct replica of that, but I think it really evokes that style, that imagery. So you can see we got the horn helmet here, and we got this big, massive one. These are two separate ones. So you can see it's got a little bit of a cloth back here on the on the back. And then we've got this regular one here. The horns are different. I think that one's more Simonson influence. So you can see there. So I mean, this is a really, really well done figure. Just so much care put into it. I'm really afraid to know how much this is going to cost because, looking at this sculpt, I can see they put a lot of effort, a lot of work into it. They gave us a lot of accessories. You see the reuse of the ravens that came with the Harold Thor figure. So it makes sense to get them back in rotation. And because they're the exact same, you can have two wing spread ravens to resting ravens. So that's cool. I really think they just absolutely knocked that knocked knocked my socks off, just knocked this figure out. Just a really strong take on Odin. And everyone involved with this guy should just like, yes, we killed it. We just delivered one of the absolute best figures for 2024 in Marvel Legends. And here's the pre-order information: June 27th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm really worried about the price. I wish they would put those out during these live streams, just in this section here where we have our window showing the pre-order information. He's a mainline release, so that's good news. See him at Target, probably GameStop, maybe Walmart as well. Target, of course, is always my preferred retailer because they have sales. And, even if the figure doesn't hit to clearance, I doubt he will. They'll probably have another one of their spend 100, get $25 off, spend 50, get $10. So you don't have to pay full price for them. I'm really looking forward to getting Odin. I think they just absolutely killed it with him. And I know a lot of you all have been asking, oh, I hope we see some Deadpool and Wolverine figures. And this next reveal kind of showed why it's better for Hasbro to wait it out, to go, I know you guys want to see it, but we need to wait because we got a Venom figure revealed. And even though we've got a new Venom movie coming later this year, what we were shown today was from Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It's a Target exclusive. And I don't have any interest whatsoever with this figure. It looks cool. I think they did a decent job with them. Here's your base version of them. No tendrils, no anything else. So you can see all this good stuff here with the figure. I really like this back attachment. So you can see all these tendrils creeping up off his back. That was really cool. And nice job on that end with this Venom. But to me, this is a waste because, they've got another Venom movie coming out a few months, and they really should be doing a Venom, whatever this next movie is. This is the end, I think it is, or the end, whatever it is. I don't care. I'm not really interested in the film, but it would make a lot more sense to get a Venom from the third movie as opposed to the second one. That's a huge gap. They've been able to make an entire movie, have the trailers, have it ready to come into theaters before we get this next movie Venom figure. All right, so with that figure out the way, one that I don't care about the most, and no foul, no harm or anything to it. It's just, that wasn't what I wanted to see. And it doesn't matter. I think they did a decent job with it. But I was very excited about this one. I think they were really in a no-win position with this, but here we go. They were talking about Uncanny X-Men 275. I figured with X-Men 97, there was a really good chance to see this figure, so it wasn't a complete surprise. But here we go. We see the 3-packs, the retro Wolverine, and one figure remaining. If you want to just take it, everybody in color, because there's still Savage Land, Rogue. There's, I guess we already got Magneto. Deathbird, a better Gladiator still. I forgot who that was to Magneto's left, but we're not finished with all the characters, is basically what I'm saying. But there's still one character right there in the middle. It's the Warlord, not teaming up with the Barbarian, but the man himself, Professor Xavier. We get this shot from shooting the galaxy, replicating that cover. But of course, you notice right away, hey, dude, his colors aren't matching up. He's got a blue cape here with this figure, but on the cover image, it's magenta with magenta accents in there. How in the world did Hasbro drop the ball so spectacularly on something like that? But they didn't, because in the actual comic book itself, when the Warlord shows up with the Starjammers, a team that has two members left to complete. So where's our two pack of Raza and Hepzibah? Hasbro, let's finish another team. We've got the Warlord right here in the blue, and that makes sense because it's Professor Xavier, and you can actually do the shot literally. This whole panel right here. You got Chode, you got Lilandra, and that was really cool to actually get her figure out. Got Warlord, Professor X, Storm. I guess we still need this costume with the short hair, and I guess we could cobble together a custom based on some other figures. Banshee's here. We got retro Wolverine. So we can actually do this shot. And you see he's in blue. But I do think that it's kind of weird because a lot of people, a lot of collectors are probably want to replicate this cover image and don't really care that the rest of the issue he was in blue. They want this magenta look. And I do think there's something to it where the magenta stands out against all the yellow and blue, whereas this figure just kind of blends in with them. And of course, he's blue because he's a Walmart exclusive. No, it's just because that's where he so happened to fall in the exclusive chart. I do think it's not great to send an exclusive, the last one for a team, to Walmart without any other means of getting it, say Amazon or Hasbro Pulse. And then Walmart has gotten a lot better about getting figures out to us in stores. So maybe it won't be a bad thing, but they're really going to need to make sure they have a ton of copies of this guy so we can get them with no problems, with no issues. Because if there's a shortage, if people can't complete that image, they're going to be all kinds of heck to pay. So hopefully, no issues there. It looks like the body they chose is yet another version of that very popular Vulcan mold. Maybe it's not. My part guesstimation is not the greatest. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Maybe, yeah, I guess it's the Vulcan mold. Amazing, amazing YouTube content. But I think that's the case. I feel like maybe a cloth cape would have been cool with him too, but this drapes around him pretty nicely. The detail on the helmet's cool. Now, Dwight and Ryan did mention the possibility of doing more versions of him. Kind of wanted to gauge the collector feedback. Would you want to see more colors of Professor X in this Warlord look? And I don't think that was a bad play. I mean, I think there's some potential to get more versions of him out there. I do also like the fact that we have Professor X with this somewhat sinister look on his face. And if you have read that issue, or if it's been a long time and you kind of forgot, there is a reason. So I'm really glad they didn't go with the normal neutral expression for him. This is very cool and it makes sense for the storyline. Again, no spoilers out of me, but this is great. You could also, if you were so inclined, throw in another head sculpt that they've done and use that instead of the Professor X head. So there's another fun option you can go with. So retro card, Professor X as the Warlord. That's cool. And you've got that look for all you mental on card collectors. He only comes with this separate head sculpt. I do think maybe they could have gone with another one just to add a little extra value, but maybe that would upset some people to get the story spoiled and just not get another chance to get that figure either. So got that. Very excited about this potential to get that figure. And I was also very excited to see this figure. So there was a clue, a tease that I thought I cracked. And I guess I got it halfway. There was a row of skulls, and I was like, clearly, that's Mystique of Destiny. Rectangular had that as a 2-pack coming up, and Hasbro said, not so fast. We're throwing y'all a little bit of a curveball. So while we did get Destiny, the second part of that 2-pack was not Mystique. And for a character that's been a long time coming, I think they really delivered on Destiny. She's got a vac metal mask, so that's cool. I would love if one of her accessories was a separate mask with a sword jam right through it, so I could attach and put on my Dazzler, just so I can simulate that whole look from Fall of the Mutants. That'd be really fun. And I think they did a nice job with her cape. It did not need to be cloth here. And I wonder about her size. She looks like she could be taller than I want her to be, but yeah, excuse me. I'll just crunch her to the back, have her sitting. I mean, she's not gonna be fighting, going toe to toe with Storm or Colossus or Nightcrawler. So we've got that. Looks like her articulation's pretty solid, no issues. Couldn't quite tell, but I'm assuming she's using the Shriek mold. So we've got her thigh articulation, double jointed elbows. I'm going to assume she's got the bicep articulation and a nice little swivel so you can move that torso a little bit for a dynamic pose just like that. And I do love that mask. It looks really great. They did a nice job getting the cone head look going for us with that as well. So really nice job on Destiny. And she completes the team, Mystique's group of Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And I know it's not the second one, like I keep saying it. It's like the fourth iteration because Magneto had different lineups. So yeah, we've got Mystique, we've got Spiral, Pyro, Blob, Avalanche, now Destiny. If you want to get totally specific, I think one of you all did in the comments. It's not really complete. If you go with Mystique's original version of that team, there's one more member, and that was who was revealed in this 2-pack. This is an Amazon exclusive. It's Rogue. And if you know, Rogue is wearing the costume that I have been clamoring for all this time. Now, there's a little bit of funniness going on with it because if you note the piping is like a yellow green and that's more of a white, but it's kind of accurate to this look for this time period. And the colorists were not quite sure which version they're going to make old Rogue in this outfit. Now, you note she's got a more sinister, evil head sculpt going. Not necessarily a fan of that, as I'm about to explain to you in a few minutes, but I thought the articulation setup, because there's no upper torso movement, but as Ryan was posing her, or Dwight was posing her, she got a lot of great movement from this ball joint piece here, which kind of takes care of those issues and allowed her to do all the stuff that I would want for an active young Rogue. So got the typical bicep articulation, double jointed elbows, thigh swivel, the double jointed knees, and she's got the hood rocking. It's quality stuff. Finally, I get my Secret Wars era Rogue. And you can see a little bit better. So you can see exactly she can hit those full punching shots. She can do the thing. From this angle, she doesn't look quite as sinister, but I'm really, really, really hoping that Hasbro has included a separate head sculpt with a happier, younger, less intense head sculpt, because this is the only way this makes sense. So let me explain that real fast. So we get this iconic. This is one of the uses that the Star Wars team could make note of. This is when you use the phrase iconic. This cover to Uncanny X-Men 171. Welcome to the X-Men, Rogue. Hope you survive the experience. This was used over and over again for different new members to the X-Men, but here it is, the original look. And Rogue was an enemy of the X-Men, so they were not at all happy, not excited to see old girl joining up with the team. And you can see here, Storm, we got her covered, we got Colossus, we got Nightcrawler. Wouldn't mind Kitty Pryde in this attire. So many choices for her, but we could use another costume for her. And in Secret Wars number 5, we got Rogue with her teammates right here. The X-Men strike back, not the Empire, but the X-Men, because the heroes are getting beat down by the villains. And here they are, Wolverine in his brown and orange outfit, Nightcrawler, Colossus, Storm, and Cyclops. And Rogue is rocking this attire here with the yellow, green, and green, the stripe going right down the center of her hair. Again, that's important because this is that look. So you could throw this Rogue right here and be fine. You've got it mashed up just so. But for the intention of what Hasbro was going for, that's not quite right. Because, and I thought it was something was a little bit off. It was like my comic book guy senses were going, something's not right. Here it is. When Rogue was a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, her hair was striped on the side. And I guess that was to give her a more sinister look or to just make her look older. And when she became an X-Men, all of a sudden she became drastically younger. They drew her much harsher and certainly older when she was hanging out with Mystique, Blob, etc. So this is her. She's stealing the powers of Miss Marvel / Warbird. You'll be able to replicate this, which is pretty cool. Once we get this Warbird figure and we get Rogue. So that'll be really fun to have those two squaring off. But you're going to have to do a little repainting of Rogue's hair to really get that look down. And here's another glimpse at it where she's fighting Dazzler, who we also have in figure form. And you can see Rogue's temples are gray, or upper temples, as opposed to the one soul stripe down her hair. And the colors, again, were all over the place with how Rogue's outfit looks. So it's not just like her band, it's a full glove, this yellow green, but that was very inconsistent over the years. So here's a figure, and so this will be fine so long as they've included an additional younger, hopefully happy, smiley head sculpt. I feel like maybe this could almost work, but it seems like it's a little bit too intense, a little bit too mean for young Rogue. But we're really close to that. So we just need an inclusion, and hopefully they've done that, because without it, I'm not gonna be as happy as I otherwise would be. Well, let's see here. And I also want to pull this up really, really fast to show you another really important look for this. So if you're trying to capture some of these really big moments in Rogue's career with this look, here is another one, the cover to Uncanny X-Men 173. This is basically when she gets accepted onto the team. So she joined. Professor X signed off like, look, she's your new teammate. The rest of them were giving her stink eye. This was the issue where she finally became accepted. She helped Wolverine, and the others are like, all right, I guess we'll go along with you. And she's rocking the yellow and green, or yellow green. And so this outfit is commonly kind of considered to be white, but there are a lot of big moments where it's yellow green. And it's funny because in Secret Wars, pull this up again really fast. For the most part, in this whole entirety of this comic, her outfit is actually white and green, and that's mostly what it looked like in the interiors. For whatever reason, in the exteriors and the covers, it was yellow green, but it was mostly white. Now I could take some white paint and slap it on there, no problem, but it's not incorrect necessarily, because on the covers it's yellow green, inside it's white. I wouldn't mind grabbing another one, painting the temples properly, and then also going with the white in place of that yellow green. So lots of options. Again, we just need another head sculpt, one that's happier, younger, and more pleasant, like we normally associate with Rogue. But I am happy to see a Secret Wars Rogue, and if that's the only version I get in a pinch, it'll do. But it could have made it a little bit better. But nice job. Happy to see that finally included. I wasn't really tripping on getting a new Mystique. So getting Destiny and Secret Wars era Rogue, original flavor X-Men Rogue, I'm very ecstatic and very happy about that. I did mention this is an Amazon exclusive. There were no release dates for that Odin, the Venom, Let There Be Carnage Venom, or this 2-pack. We're just kind of left in limbo. When will they come out? Who knows? I guess the Marvel Legends team does, but we don't. So next up, we got another figure, maybe not one that I was expecting to get an updated figure, as I've been posing I guess, and it's not really that new anymore. This figure came out way early on when Hasbro finally got the keys to do the Fantastic Four and the X-Men again. So she was incorporated in a wave way, way, way back in the day. Let me do my professional. Oh, I should probably do that again. Let's see here. Sorry and apologies to your ears. All right, so this was like I did remember correctly this time. Part of the build a figure juggernaut wave. So this is way back, way, way, way back. How far are we going back? Back into time. So we get this figure. Now you'll have to. This is not Amazon UK. Just play along with me. This is Phoenix. Now this is the Phoenix I've had for a long time. I replaced that head sculpt. I thought it was not great. Uh, Her legs are a little bit loose. You can see how slender and thin they are. Really makes standing tricky, but otherwise a pretty solid figure, especially once I gave her the Mary Jane Watson Black Widow head sculpt for neutral Jean Grey, aka the Phoenix, and got her. Now, see, the thing was funny was her sash typically was on the other hip, so it would go from this side here as opposed to over here. So that was all the excuse that Hasbro needed to give us a new version, right? Maybe not so much, but we finally got this version, and she's updated using that new superior articulated female body, and I'm excited about it. Let's take a look at Phoenix. Phoenix looks really good. The colors really pop. That green looks far more like it did in the comic book. It's not that yellow green or dark yellow green. Got to pull out my Crayola coloring box of 100 colors to break down the exact shade. But this looks more like how it was colored by Terry Austin. Not Terry Austin. Ugh, you'll forgive me. Got to do another search into my X-Men lore to figure out who the colorist was for that time period. But we've actually got this. The yellow gold looks right because we saw with Dark Phoenix, she looked like she needed a little bit more shading in this gold section. This looks appropriate. It's not stark yellow and it's not gold. It's like that hybrid. Maybe there's a gold wash in there, and it really looks good. And she's using the same mold as Warbird. And I think we all were like, oh man, this would be a perfect buck for Psylocke. It'll also be a perfect buck for Phoenix. And yeah, we just got a retro Dark Phoenix, but I don't know if anybody would be upset getting this Dark Phoenix with this outfit. So yeah, this is a really nice looking figure. I do think that maybe they could have done her hair a little bit differently. Here's how John Byrne, the great X-Men artist who drew most of Jean Grey's run as Phoenix, did her hair. So not quite as, you know, maybe not quite like this flowing style. I mean, it's fine. This gave her a little bit more of a bang look, whereas this one's kind of like a full-on swoop of her hair, kind of like a Superman curl. But I do like this, and it's just my preference because that's my era of X-Men. This is the Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix. This is the powered up Phoenix hair head sculpt. I think there's something a little off with the nose compared to the other version. Let's see if I'm seeing that properly. Yeah, it seems like maybe the nose is a little bit different. But she looks intense. She looks fired up, pun intended, and ready to go. I still may use that original Phoenix head, the one with the hair flying. I think that one looks a little bit better. And since I don't have to worry about skin tones matching because it's just the head, I may see what that looks like. Hopefully it'll fit. But yeah, I do like the fact that they gave us another portrait. But this is not all for Phoenix here. This is the super deluxe one where I was not expecting this, and I think they really went above and beyond to do this up. So they gave her a flame base, and that was cool. I was like, oh, that's really nice. We got this, and that's really all we need for Phoenix. That's cool. And get a better look at her head sculpt here. So she's smiling, she's happy. I saved the X-Men, and I'm ready to go do my part. I'm gonna go help the Shi'ar stop the galaxy from imploding. Got this thing. I've mastered my powers. I'm all good. But we get more. We got her flame bird, and you can see how it's translucent. So it's lit up, and you can see the reds, the oranges. It looks incredible. So excited about how this turned out. For so long, I've been using the old Toy Biz flavor, and this is not bad. It's really good. And Toy Biz was so ahead of the times when they were putting all this stuff into 7.99 figures. If you can see, I think you can right here. There's a little knob here that you can just put a screw and put this on the wall. You got this little clip here. I think you can see it now. Put it to the shirt. There you go, where she could just sit and rest on it, which was so ingenious for a Phoenix figure. Now, this over the years, this hook has gotten a little bit looser, but you can see how it scales to a Hasbro Phoenix figure. But this time, Hasbro's like, all right, now we're ready. We're ready to finally do our version of the Flame Bird. And this thing is incredible. I mean, they really knocked this out. Best in show style for me. You can see how the Phoenix rests in this base and how they've got it like it's actually swirling a Phoenix rising from the flames. So well done. And just how it catches all of this light. It's amazing. Just truly outstanding work there. And we see Phoenix actually in it. And Dwight took a little second, but he did show how she will rest that foot in here. So you can get this soaring pose and you can literally have the wings going. You know, you see everybody or some areas have the wings on the walls like murals. People go in between them. Sometimes they're butterfly wings. Phoenix is doing the same thing, but with actual fire. I just love the way this turned out. I'm just really impressed. Everyone involved, take a bow. Very curious about the price point because they got me. This is so well executed. And when they were going with the but wait, there's more. I was thinking, all right, cool. We're going to see the Dave Cockrum, John Byrne, Cyclops, hopefully some shading. But this is pretty cool. And I'm still waiting for an upgrade on the Bucky Cap version. But right here, this is so well done. And I'm really impressed with how they executed all the stuff for Phoenix. And yeah, they really did a great job with that. So tremendous version of Phoenix. Very pleased with how that turned out. Now let's go to something maybe I'm not so pleased with. And that was the long awaited reveal of the Strange Tales wave. Now, this is one that's led to a lot of speculation. I know some of my regulars, like Vintage Bob, Retro Robo, were like, oh, this is going to be good. Jay Woods, they were all like, this wave should have all kinds of characters from Strange Tales. Here's 20 characters that have appeared. I played into it too. I was like, all right, well, here's some Strange Tale covers. Here are some characters that could make sense for it. And I think if you take a look at this, like if you were to see the wave just laid out, like, all right, here are the character names, you would probably be pretty excited. And I think for the most part, most of them, besides two exceptions, which just infuriated me, like full on nerd rage. What are they doing? I was really pretty happy with the character selections. It's just the characters. I'm gonna make my own bootleg wrong costume shirt. And I kind of feel like that makes more sense than buying one off a Pulse. That's where it kind of went wrong. So here we go. We got a full thing. And I think the main issue is they just not called it Strange Tales. They just save themselves from playing into that theme. This probably would have worked out better, but because of that, I think people are going to be upset with the execution with the character choices for this wave. Let's get into it, starting with this guy, Brother Voodoo. And I'm saying Brother Voodoo, and immediately you're probably thinking one or two looks. And if you go, well, it's got to be his classic original look because we've already gotten the Sorcerer Supreme, Sorcerer Voodoo look already on the Bucky Cap mold. And he was one of the characters that I assembled and cobbled together in my photo booth. It was like, here's another one that needs to get replaced. Brother Voodoo and Sorcerer Supreme was not necessarily one of my top 5, not even top 10 characters using that mold that I needed to see replaced. But Hasbro said, we got you anyway. We don't need you to say which one's your priority. We got you covered. So we got an updated version of Brother Voodoo. And I really think the face printing looks great. They did a nice job getting that shading. You know where that would have looked even better? classic Brother Voodoo look. But we've got this look again, and I'm curious about how he's posed because this looks like he's got to go break up some of that skull pattern on his outfit just to get him to stand like this in this wide pose. A lot of the parts were reused from the original figure, which was solid. No issue with that. I'm pretty sure this belt is a new piece, but I really am curious why they felt this was a good time to revisit Brother Voodoo outside of this face painting. Because this accessory was part of that original figure. And let me pull up the old one really quickly because it wasn't such a major need for a new version. All right, let me see here. Then pull this up really quickly. And I think I did the review of him too. Let's see here. Oh, no. Let's see. Ew, he was part of a box set. So I guess if people missed out on the box set, that would be something like a deal for you. But yeah, he was part of that set. Okay, so you're like, what box set is he talking about? Is the Book of the Vishanti set. This is San Diego Comic Con exclusive. We've seen basically everybody now, including Brother Voodoo, put back into this thing. So you see that staff was the same deal. Head sculpt definitely has different paint, which is cooler because it looks like he painted it or put it on there himself. So let me see the skull necklace piece here if I can find or deal to the side. So that looks like it was reused too. So I don't know. I mean, I'm really curious why this character, why this figure was chosen for an update. There was not a big clamoring for Brother Voodoo to get an updated figure. I mean, if you want to go with figures that use this mold that need an update, Black Bolt, Cyclops, Bucky, so many other choices. Havoc, Archangel, maybe not so much Brother Voodoo. And I really think this was a wasted or missed opportunity from the Hasbro team to knock out just a classic looking Brother Voodoo. So here we go. Just for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I mean, I just think this is such a cooler look. And it's not derivative off of Doctor Strange and his outfit. And it just is a cool looking figure. I'm very worried that this might be a look that they're worried that there's going to be some issue if they try to make into a figure in our PC sensitive times. But I love this outfit. I think this looks cool. And this is like something totally different than, that updated one that we've gotten. I would love to see this as a figure and kind of hoping that was kind of what I envisioned for that figure when I heard, hey, the possibilities of him getting made into a figure. And then just to show you kind of the full on irony about this is, let's see if I can pull this cover up here. Make sure there's nothing crazy. They weren't always paying attention to things that would get people upset back then. Cover Strange Tales featuring Brother Voodoo. I mean, so he made sense to be included in a Strange Tales focused wave for this outfit, not that newer updated one. I mean, we could have done everybody's rocking skunk tails or skunk hairstyles. Look, pair them up with Rogue. Anyway, I really would have dug this version of Brother Voodoo as opposed to what we got, but I'm not the one making these choices and decisions over at Hasbro. Next up, it's Dracula. And I think they did a really nice job with this figure. I mean, look at all the armor, the sculpting of the plating. That was great. Paint job, black and red makes a lot of sense for Dracula. And they did a nice dark blood red shade of red here. So it stands out. Dracula's got that washed out ashen look, white hair. He also has a separate portrait. So you've got your angry one, you've got your hair. Looks like that's posable, or you can move the ponytail to some extent. His cape looks good. And here's the full on action look. He's raging out. sword swiping. I do think Matt's cheating us out a little bit here with these cape poses because they don't stay like that. Or at least they won't stay like that for long. But here you go. He's attacking, and maybe there's a vampire hunter that he can battle. So here you go. Blade, he of the poorly articulated arms and really needs butterfly shoulders. Blade, the recent one that just came out. So probably not going to see an update on him until the new Blade movie comes out in 2035. But there you go. That's a nice little showdown of those two. But I kind of feel like, just like similar to Brother Voodoo, this wasn't exactly the choice that they could have gone with for Dracula. And just for fun, because I always say that maybe the Marvel Legends design team just throws in a character name on Google and goes with the first item that pops up or the one that has the least amount of images. Here you go. This is what I did. I just put in Marvel Comics Dracula. And the first one was the one that I wanted to see, and it's nothing fancy about this. It's just a dude rocking an outfit, but this is Dracula Marvel Comics style. And I know this was the old original version and not as exciting as this cool on emo. I've got my cool evil look to Dracula going that we have here. It seems like maybe they're missing some clasp on the cape, but I really would have preferred that version. The Tomb of Dracula look for him. And it's interesting because way back in the day, we had our monsters box set from Toy Biz, and this one has the zombie. It's got Frankenstein, it's got Dracula, and I still want an updated version of this guy, as well as Werewolf by Night. Shout out another character that's still waiting to get an updated figure, even though one of his co-stars has a figure coming. But this is what I wanted to see. I mean, they've done a really good job of knocking out so many of those great Toy Biz figures. Now would have been a really solid, smart time to get Dracula out there in that form, but not meant to be. Now we're going on to two figures I was really baffled and puzzled by. It's the X related characters, the mutants in this set. First up is, because we can never quite quit this dude, it's Wolverine as Helverine. This is, I guess, a modern take on Wolverine. I am not paying attention to what they're doing in Marvel Comics these days, so whatever. But I thought as I was looking, hey, this is the brown and orange outfit. Now, that figure was released way back in the day with the Build-A-Figure Juggernaut wave. And as I'm posing, as I'm looking at the figure now, because the bare arms, the pins are kind of noticeable. And I thought, oh man, this would be a great opportunity. I buy this Helverine simply for the ability to swap out those old parts or just use this new body and put the head from that original figure onto it. But it's the same figure, pins here, pins everywhere. I thought that was a really bizarre and odd choice. You got to figure we're going to get another brown and orange Wolverine. Maybe we're going to have to wait till the X-Men 97 wave. But it sure felt like this was a good opportunity to get a fully pinless orange and brown Wolverine. And for people who are impatient like me, would have ran at the chance to get this figure right now. And then, oh, I've got a double dip because Hasbro's so shady. But here you go. This is Helverine. This has got like a Terminator head, or I guess the adamantium head, and the full-on flames making the mask. I mean, it's a cool visual, and it certainly seems like the kind of look that would make for a cool toy. Just again, it seems like some of these modern figures kind of cut the line. And I'm sure this one was a really easy choice for the Marvel Legends team because it's like, oh, cool. This is so easy. All we need is a new head and some new claw effects. And we've got the rest of this figure knocked out already. I'm still not loving it. Next up is a really curious choice for me, Bloodstorm. And I really like Bloodstorm. I thought she was a great character, but it sets up a real problem because Bloodstorm was not part of any regular X-Men team. It's part of Mutant X. Here's a look at her other head sculpts. So really nice job. So here's Mutant X. Mutant X was an alternate reality version of the X-Men, not Age of Apocalypse, a totally different world, trapped in a world of darkness. Alex Summers is Mutant X. Now, this is our standard regular Havoc, Alex Summers, transported to another world where these are the X-Men. And so in this squad, this team, we got the Fallen, this Archangel, and you can see he's got more bat wings. That'd be kind of cool to see. We've got Brute, this world's version of Beast, Iceman, this world's version of, well, okay, I guess you got that figured out. And Marvel Woman, Madeline Pryor, who Alex was deeply in love with at one point. And of course, Bloodstorm in the background there, setting up a whole new storm cycle. So this is pretty cool. And the book was really fun. Howard Mackey, Carrie Nord, it was a really cool setup. I mean, these guys were just like here, chilling, doing their thing. And of course, Hasbro's track record with completing teams they've started is really low. So to start a Mutant X wave or team, not with Havoc, but with Bloodstorm, knowing, all right, well, we've at least got to get a few more characters. Got to get Fallen, Havoc, Brute, Marvel Woman, and Iceman. So that's a lot. We got to complete the 6 now. And based on their track record, especially with teams that just need 1 or 2 members to get completed, Farrell from X Force, we got a Box, Marina from Alpha Flight. There are a lot of teams that could just use 1 more member. Scourge to complete a Masters of the Masters. I keep going Masters of the Universe. Masters of Evil team. I don't know why they would decide, let's start off a new team now. I mean, let's finish off Wizard. Pace Pot Pete would have worked in a Strange Tales wave. Why not do them as opposed to starting another line, another team? It's going to take till 2050 to get completed. Don't really understand that. Just a really odd decision because they have not shown the real commitment to filling off and finishing teams. So I know they've done better, but this was a really bizarre choice. Next up was one I was very surprised to see. And I think this might mark a first, at least on the Hasbro Marvel Legends front, because this is the only one that failed. We're seeing Damian Hellstrom. And this, I was like, all right, well, what's the change from the HasLab version? Because, typically the rules are you don't get your HasLab, you don't get your figures that were slotted for it. And of course, they've always indicated you're not going to see this particular version of the figure if we release it later. But they were like, forget it, never mind. We're going to put this exact figure out. And maybe there's something funny with the eyes, but I'm pretty sure this is the exact same version. Of course, this is the render, so I needed to try to track down some actual prototype photos of Damien. But this looks like the same figure. So I'm breaking all kinds of rules. So everybody that missed out on the HasLab, missed out on Robbie Reyes, Mephisto, Goblin Queen. I guess we sort of kind of have 2/4 of those figures. Maybe Mephisto will be here soon. But anyway, I'm really surprised to see that. And maybe this bodes well for people who are still clamoring for Mephisto and Goblin Queen and maybe even Robbie Reyes. Next up, we get Lilith. And this was an actual worthwhile inclusion for a Strange Tales wave, even though she's not totally set up under the umbrella of Strange Tales. She at least fights the Midnight Suns and characters in the world, in the realm of Dracula. So this is really cool. I think they did a nice job implementing her head sculpt and her flailing, floating, ethereal hair. Pretty sure she's also using the Shriek mold because you can see the little wrist collar pieces there, the wristbands that Shriek has also implemented here as well. So not a whole lot to say about this figure. I think they did a good job. Really cool work with her head. You can see there's some translucent elements to the hair. I think I have a photo from the, there you go. You can see a little bit better how her hair isn't really there, but it is there. So that was fun. She made a lot of sense for this wave. Like I said, here's the comic book version just to give you a better sense of how her hair is just kind of floating around. It's just this wide mass with no real substance. So here you go. So good inclusion. I know she was definitely a character that people were going, hey, if you're going to do this Engine of Vengeance, she would be a great figure to include. So here you go. Here's another one. It probably made a lot more sense than throwing in Goblin Queen in the first place. So there's Lilith, another figure for this wave. Another one is included. Doesn't really also make much sense for this lineup. Finally got West Coast Avengers. And we had our Beyond Earth's Mightiest 60th anniversary of the Avengers. And it seems like it would have made more sense to throw them in here. But once they're on my shelf, I really don't care or remember where and how I got the figures. But this is how I was first kind of introduced to Moon Knight when he was part of the team. So we've got all the gold ornate elements. They did this really well. He's got his world title and got the bands here in gold. Same deal with the gauntlets. It looks really great and very excited to actually see him. So you can see a little bit more of that detailing. I'm assuming Hasbro will send over the official pictures by Thursday when this wave goes up for pre-order, so we can take a closer look. But you can see the white and the black cape. That's really cool. One thing, excuse me, that would have been really cool. I would have loved this scene would have been more shading of the outfit like we've seen with Daredevil, but he's got a ton of gear, lots of accessories. So I'll show you more. He's got his bow staff. He's got his throwing stars. He's got the Ankh, which he used. That's really cool. So that's nice to see a new accessory piece included with Moon Knight. We see he's got the shuriken hanging out in his hands there. I think they plug into his fist if I'm remembering that correctly. But that's really cool. So this guy stands out, really cool. Great addition. Holding the Ankh again. Cool. I mean, this is exactly what you want to see, the different version of a character, adding in all those extra touches. So you got your West Coast Avengers. I have Moon Knight, the all white version, hanging with them. So I have to remove him and place this guy with the team. Poor Simon gets no love, whether it's Wanda or Hasbro. I mean, got all the rest of the originals, but no Wonder Man. No wonder. Maybe he's getting an update. All right, so here is West Coast Avengers number 21, where Dr. Pym and Moon Knight join the team. Here's Wonder Man, maybe because of this outfit, they didn't want to throw him in there. I wouldn't mind that as a figure, though. But yeah, we're getting pretty close to getting a really full West Coast Avengers and complete team. I've been setting up my Avengers display, and it's pretty cool having a full West Coast Avengers setup along with my main East Coast regular crew. So there we go, all set up there. And here's another look, the full team. So we can do this shot basically. Just need a Wasp, and I'll never complain about getting more different color versions of Wasp. We got her, got a Hawkeye, Mockingbird, Wonder Man, Tigra, vamping it up as usual. Hank Pym in his setup, and then Moon Knight becomes the 24th Avenger. Cool stuff. So great deal there. Now it's time. That was the last member of the wave. It's time to go to the Build-A-Figure, and this is one I think a lot of people are very happy with because he has been very anticipated from all these lists that I've seen from people like, they make this figure Build-A-Figure. This helps add on to my Marvel versus Capcom roster. So here you guys go. It's Blackheart. Not upset about seeing him because I was putting up my Hasbro, my Toy Biz version, and he's just a falling mess because of the tail. This one's got a Benny tail, so that won't be an issue. Got butterfly shoulders on him. Great head sculpt. Good amount of detail here. You can see the texture in his legs, the bumps, just all the kind of different details on there. Head looks cool as well. So here you go, some more looks. You can see how that tail goes. And that was the real issue because the Toy Biz version was not bendable. So it just made him take up way too much space shelf. So there's a paint on that end, but he can crouch. It looks really fun and really cool. I think the paint job looks pretty cool too. And I love this head sculpt. It's got this hair flying all over the place. Very cool. Good work on him. And you can get a sense on how you can pose him, how you can maneuver him. He can fight basically anybody in your collection. So that's great. And here's how he scales with Daredevil. Would have loved to have seen them show him with somebody like Thor as opposed to one of the smaller characters like this version of Daredevil. But they did encounter each other. So it's not totally out the blue, out of the picture to have these two together. And it looks really cool. And I know I've said he looks cool about 1,000 times, but there you go. So this wave is going up for pre-order on Thursday, like I said earlier. You see the packaging, I think it looks pretty nice. Good amount of color, got a little blue, light blue accents there. And the green in the background really pops, shows off the colors of the characters really nicely. Just want to take another look at that Lilith though. It looks a little bit different than I guess those pictures just look a little bit better. So anyway, so we got her, and there we go. So you can see everybody here, and oh, Helverine does not have the Build-A-Figure piece. So that's really helpful because I would not want to be forced to buy this guy like I'm forced to buy every other figure. But he doesn't have a piece. That's awesome. And I don't really think there is a loser in the rest of this set. I just think I would have preferred a classic version of Damien, definitely classic version of Brother Voodoo and Dracula, and just maybe a box set of Mutant X. Because again, I think this figure looks cool, but are we gonna have to wait years and years to complete that team? Moon Knight looks great. So him and Lilith are the ones that I'm no questions asked excited about. Yeah, I get to replace and update my Brother Voodoo, but he wasn't a real priority in terms of that mold. But anyway, that's the wave. That's what we've got. Of course, we're going to see some more stuff. And of course, at San Diego Comic-Con, they were teasing they're going to drop a whole bunch of stuff, including what I'm sure will be the figures behind this big blaster they tease. A lot of speculation already that this is a blaster for Hope and Cable. I'm not really sure what version of Cable we could use to make that necessary, but we do need a new Hope figure. So a new Hope figure. Great Star Wars reference. But yeah, I mean, there you go. Those are the reveals. Very excited about Odin. I think he looks awesome. He looks great. The Phoenix figure, just wow. The base just does it. Best accessory, no doubt. I get to replace this. I think I'd accommodated enough space in my shelf for this, but it's not that much taller than a regular one. So now I'm gonna have to accommodate a new base because that for sure is getting highlighted on my 70s, 80s X-Men team. So we got a whole wave of figures. The Build-A-Figure, Blackheart, another winner, Seen Rogue, hopefully with a different head sculpt, and Destiny to complete the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and just so much other cool stuff. Retro card, Warlord Professor X with outfit that I think makes the most sense. Maybe this would have been an opportunity for them to just include a magenta cape and call it a day, but we'll see. But I'm really curious, and I desperately want to hear what you all think about these reveals. Were you excited? Very disappointed at the Strange Tale figure selected? And what do you want to see at San Diego Comic-Con if any of your major choices did not get shown? For me, I got Secret Wars Rogue mostly scratched off my list. So now I'm really putting out the full court press, basketball reference, for a green and yellow Banshee to get Scourge the Executioner and to finally get X Factor version 2 of Jean Grey and Beast. So I can get one of those 4 shown at Comic-Con. It'll be a winner for me. All right. Thank you so much as always for watching. Apparently a super long edition, but this episode allows figure files. Let me do that one more time. This episode of Laos Figure Files has been filed.